Hey ho, it's Marco Catania again, representing Charles III. This subject, ITI 597, it prepares you for the ITIL certification, which is one of the many IT certifications that are part of the Master and MBA qualifications at Charles III University. Okay, in this topic we're going to look at like the goals and objectives of service design. Once a number of services have been approved from a strategic point of view, then the next thing is actually to create a blueprint or create a so-called service design package. So let's start to design all the services. Let's start to design the new and or change services. That's what service design is all about. So let's first have a look at the service design goals. Well, hey, this may sound obvious, but service design, the goal of service design is to design new or changed services. For guess what? Well, for introduction into the live environment. Of course, we're not designing services to put them in the test environment. We're designing services to put them in a live environment. Of course, when we're designing services, we have to take into consideration the impact on a number of factors, such as like the service solutions. We want to make sure we understand the functional requirements before we start to design and build anything. We need to understand what a customer actually wants and requires. We need to understand the resources and capabilities needed to deliver the service. We don't want to end up in a scenario where we are over promising and under delivering. So we really need to understand the requirements. Also, if we design a new service, we want to make sure we put the right processes in place to support the new service, to support the systems, to support how we're going to manage the whole thing. Also, again, it's almost like an endless list. It's like we need to understand the technology architectures we're going to use, because hopefully the new service and the architecture we're going to use actually fits in with the current architecture. And hopefully you've got something in place that's known as a so-called service-oriented architecture. It's almost like a jigsaw puzzle where all the pieces nicely fit together. Supporting systems. And if you start delivering new services, within no time you're probably receiving incidents. You have to resolve problems. You want to make changes. So you want to make sure that the supporting IT service management systems and the supporting IT service management tools are actually in place. Last but not least, if you start to deliver a new service, you want to make sure it actually runs properly. So you want to make sure you're able to capture the metrics, the measurements that tell you, hey, we're on track, or we're actually not delivering against agreed targets with our customers. So definitely, if you design services, some of the goals are actually taking into consideration those five key aspects of designing a service. So now let's have a look at the service design objectives, and what you will see, they're pretty much similar to the goals. Goals and objectives are often they should be very related, and if not, they're almost like the same. It says here to ensure that new or changed services are consistent with all other services. So delivery of the support you're providing and the way you're dealing, just like if you think of McDonald's, that they're providing all these products like the hamburgers, the milkshakes, you name it. If they introduce a new product, a new service, they're not going to completely re-engineer and redesign McDonald's. So it's overall still the same organization and the same way they deliver all the services and products. So that's what's meant with this statement. It says here technology architectures and management systems are consistent with the new or changed service. Well, they don't have to be, but if you keep them the same, it will be a lot cheaper, more efficient, more effective to actually manage and control them. If your entire environment is built on, for example, the Intel platform, it's all like Windows and Intel processors, and here comes a new service and it only runs on Linux, it means you've got a long way to go and lots of changes to make. Whereas if the new system also runs on the Wintel platform, it just makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so it's about making optimal use of your standardized environment. Hey, I've told you, the objectives are pretty much the same as the goals. And now it says furthermore, we want to ensure that all the service design processes and roles and responsibilities and skills have the capability to operate, support and maintain a new or changed service. And so you want to make sure you've got the proper incident management process in place, the problem management process in place, the change management process in place to support not only the old services but also the new ones. So for example, you may have to add like categories to your incident categorization system. You may have to add like, for example, new change models to your change management system. So your processes need to be aligned with the new services you're going to provide or the changed services you're going to provide. It says here, existing measurement methods can provide required metrics on a new or changed service. Are you able, with your existing tools, to not only capture like the metrics for the existing and the old services, but also for the new ones? Because in the end, you want to make sure they run properly, and in the end, you want to make sure you can actually report also on the new services. So it's really fitting in the new service into your existing environment. And you want to make sure you're able to like cross all the T's and dot all the I's before you actually start to like build and test and implement the new service. So it's almost like you're putting the safeguards in place. Service design, for me, it's all about minimizing the risk that once you start to build, test and implement, things will go wrong. It's all about risk mitigation. It's all about planning. I've got another practice what you preach exercise for you. It says here the objective is to understand service design concepts. Think about this one. You ever thought of building your own house? So what type of things need to be planned if you're going to build your own house before you can actually like lay the first brick? Well, I'll give you a bit of a head start. Okay, so some questions you have to ask yourself as part of your design environment. Who's going to draw? Who's going to draw my new house? Who's going to draw the plans of my new house? And where do I get approval? What options and what materials are available? When do I actually want to move in? And when do I want to move from my old place to my new place? How many rooms do I want? 2 bedrooms? 3 bedrooms? 50 bedrooms? And for example, do I need a security system? So start to ask some questions before you actually like hand over some money to like a building company. Hey, go and build me a house. It typically doesn't work. There's a lot of planning involved if you want to build a new house and move into your new house. I know you just love all these sample questions, don't you? So here I've got another one for you. It says the question, service design is all about which one of the following statements? Answer A. Service design is all about securing funds for implementing services. Answer B. Service design is all about understanding market demands and movements. Answer C. Service design is all about independent testing of new and changed services. And answer D. Service design is all about designing new and changed services. I'll give you some seconds to think about the answer and then we'll move on. Okay, I'll give you the answer and hopefully you've seen it already. Of course, the answer is answer D. Service design is all about designing new and changed services. In the end, you want to put them into the live environment and add them to your portfolio of services you're providing to your customers. Okie dokie, so what's the next topic going to cover? Well, it's going to cover the value, the benefits that service design as a complete volume has to offer to your business. And I'm going to tell you already that's going to be a long list, okay? Hey, do realize that Charles III also has a complete training environment nowadays on Second Life. So all these ITIL topics and like PMBOK topics and ISO topics. You can also like be an avatar in 3D space and follow some of these topics. So not only on YouTube, and hopefully I'll see you there at some stage. Hey, for now, have a great time, live long and prosper, and I'll see you back in the next topic. Cheers, ciao, adios.